Welcome to the Becoming You show, where limits get torched and possibility takes the mic. I'm Leah Rowling, human in permanent beta, neurostrategist, mom to 3 amazing humans, married to 1 legendary soul, and your no fluff permission slip to stop waiting. Every week, we rewire brain patterns, smash hand-me-down mindsets, and dive into the daring, identity-shifting conversations most people dodge. Ready to turn potential into proof? Grab your pen. Your next chapter starts now. Hello, my beautiful friends. Welcome back to the Becoming You show. I am your host, Leah Rowling. And I'm really glad you're here, generally. I mean, you could be doing anything. 101 things right now. And yet you're choosing this 30 minutes, 28 minutes, 14 minutes if you listen to me on 1.5, 2 times, learning how to be the very best version of you. Right? That is not a small thing. Honestly, I think it's the whole thing. It's the whole thing. When 7% of the world, right, choose themselves to invest in, that's no little thing. So, welcome. This is a new month. And so all 4 episodes in August are going to go together. And you know, I love to theme a month, right? We've done it before. We've done it with courage and relationships. And this one might be one of my favorites yet because we're going to do 1 word each week. And the words build into a framework that I've been using with my clients. And honestly, it's some of the most useful work that I'm doing right now with them. And yes, I could just hand you the whole framework today, but I'm not going to, because I think there's something really special about this one in particular, about slowing it down and letting each piece get its own week. So that's what we're doing. 4 words, 4 weeks, and by the end of the month, you'll have the whole thing. You'll have the whole framework. So I want to say why we're going to do it this way. Because I know some of you I want the whole picture up front. You're like, Leah, just give me the framework. Just let me get to work. Let me get to work on using these tools and these frameworks. And I hear that. And you know I'm like that with a lot of things. I don't know if I've ever teased out a framework like this, but this one, the work that we're going to do this month, it doesn't actually land when you're exposed to it in the way that I would normally expose it to you. It lands when you sit with 1 word, 1 piece at a time and let it work on you. So that's what we're doing. Okay? 1 word a week. And this first one, the one that we're talking about today, it's where the rest of them start. Because if you can't do this one, honestly, the other 3 don't have anywhere to go. So week 1, we're starting with the question. And I really want you to answer it, okay? Not for me, but for you, right? Maybe while you're driving, folding laundry, wandering about, wherever you are. Okay? And here's the question. When you tell the story of the hardest thing that ever happened to you, I want you to think about it right now, please. The hardest thing that's ever happened to you. When you tell it, when you share it with somebody, is it a release? Meaning, do you feel something let go? Like, do you feel lighter in that conversation exchange? Or is it a rerun? On pilot, reinforcing being right. And I just want you to sit with that for a second because those are really different things. And I don't think most of us ever have asked ourselves which one we're doing, right? A release is when the truth actually leaves your body. You feel lighter. A rerun is when you've told the story so many times that you kind of know it by heart. You know where the pauses go. You know which part gets the reaction. One of those is for healing, and the other one is just a script. And you can spend years telling a script and calling it healing. You know how I know it? I've done it. Trust me. I've done it a lot. I've watched clients do it. I've watched the people that I love do it. It's not because we're broken. It's because at some point we stopped noticing which one we were doing. So I want to start this one outside of that question. So kind of have that question in mind. Like how do you tell your story, your painful story, right? The one that you maybe have allowed to define you and yet haven't healed from. So I want to tell you a study because this really changed how I think about judgment, how I think about suffering, how I think about pain. So in 1980, Dartmouth researchers, they brought people into a lab and makeup artists gave each person a scar, a fake one, but really realistic, like right on this cheek, right? Big, totally visible, right? The kind of thing that you would notice on a stranger immediately. And then they showed each person the scar in the mirror, right? So now you've seen your face. You know exactly what you're walking into. And then right before they send you in, the makeup artist says, hang on, let me just put a little cream on here. So it sets and lasts through the conversations that you're going to have when you be released into this networking thing. Okay, makes sense. You want it to hold. So they send these participants in and they have these what might be considered a normal conversation with strangers, right? Small talk, nothing weird about it. And the whole time they're thinking, they see it. They see my scar. Every glance, every pause, every time that this person looks away, it's about the scar. And afterward, the researchers pull them all aside and they ask, how'd it go? How did they treat you? How did the conversations go? And these people described it in detail, friends, right? In detail. The stranger staring, like how uncomfortable they got, how they were treated differently, discriminated against, right? How people were very short with them. And it wasn't vague. They could point to specific moments in the conversation. In the conversation. Every single one of them had a story. Every single one. Real discrimination, real awkwardness, real tension, real judgment. They weren't exaggerating. They weren't making it up. They lived it. And then the researchers handed them a mirror. No scar. No scar, you guys. The cream that was applied right before they let them go out wasn't setting anything. The cream was removing it. It came off before they ever walked into that room. Every conversation they just described, every stare, every uncomfortable pause, all of it happened to a person with a completely normal face. No scar. No scar. The thing they felt judged for, beautiful friends, was not on their face. But the feeling of being judged, totally real. Totally real. Their brain actually gave them that experience. That's the part that gets me every single time. Their brain manufactured the evidence for something that was never happening because the scar wasn't on their face. The scar was in their thinking. They walked in believing something about how they'd be seen. And their brain took every normal little thing in that conversation. The glance, the pause, the look away, the shifting, right, in the chair, and turned it all into proof, all into evidence of judgment. That's what the brain does. It finds proof of whatever you walked in believing. It doesn't check whether it's fair, whether it's honest, whether it's accurate. It just finds the proof. The judgment, the only judgment in that room, you guys, was of their own making. It was their own. So, with a lot of the research, I like to think about it and be like, whoa, how do we make this personal? How does this relate to you and me? Because how many of us are walking around right now with a scar that isn't there anymore, right? The divorce that was 8 years ago, the business that failed, the bankruptcy, the things somebody said to you when you were 13. And I'm not kidding about that one. I've coached very, very successful adults who are still carrying one sentence from a hallway in middle school. The childhood you had, the parents that didn't love you, the dad that left you, the mom that wasn't present, the betrayal, the season in your life that maybe you're not proud of, the version of yourself that you used to be, that you're afraid people can still see. And hear me, I I know it happened. Me too. I'm not saying it didn't happen. It happened for sure. It hurt. It did. It mattered. It shaped you. And it's an and statement here, friends. Is it on your face today? Or is it in your thinking? Because your brain can't tell the difference. It will walk into that networking event. It will walk into that family dinner. It will walk into that new relationship. It will walk into that new opportunity and it will find the staring. It will. It will find the judgment, whether it is there or not. And it will feel real. Just, just like it did for those people in the study. Now, I know some of you might be asking right now, Leah, are you telling me my pain doesn't matter? Are you telling me that it wasn't real? Are you telling me that I should just... No, no. I am telling you, it matters so much that I refuse to let you waste it on a story with no potential. There is zero potential in the past. Zero. That's the whole episode right there. So I want to slow this down because this is the part that I really want you to get. There are two things that you can do with pain. You can release it or you can rehearse it. And what makes this really tricky is that from the outside, they look the same. Both of them involve talking about it. Both of them might even involve crying about it. You can rehearse it in a therapist's office. You can rehearse it on a girl's trip. You can rehearse it in a journal. The difference isn't where you do it or what it looks like when you do it or with whom you're doing it with. The difference is what happens inside you. What happens after? When you release pain, it's messy. It does not come out in nice sentences. It jumps around, it surprises you. You say things that you didn't even know were in there. Some of it's not flattering, none of it is filtered. It doesn't even make sense. Okay? And just ask me how I know. This is true. But when it's done, you feel lighter. Not fixed, right? Not done, not healed, just lighter. Like something left. When you rehearse pain, it comes out smooth. Like you're fluent in it. I'm fluent in it. Same phrases every time, same order, same beats. Like you know what I'm talking about, right? Same wait for dramatic effects. And when you're done telling it, just don't notice. Just notice. You probably don't feel lighter. You feel more right. You feel more justified. The story got a little stronger. And so did its hold on you. So I want to give you a real example because I'm going to keep it really general so nobody feels called out. But I'm guessing you found yourself in this place, right? I had this exact conversation more times than I can count. The client, she'd be telling the same story about something that happened to her years ago. Right? Years ago. And she could tell it, like really tell it. You know, she had her audience, she had her friends who nodded in the right places. And then she came to me and she said, Leah, I've done so much work around this. I've done so much work. I do not know why it still runs my life. And I said, tell me about it. Right? And she did. She told me the story beautifully, honestly. And when she was done, I said, do you feel lighter? And they never do. They never do. They just feel more entitled to their story being right. But being right doesn't set you free. There is no freedom in the need to be right, right? When we tell our story, not to release it, but to keep the case open, nothing releases. Nothing releases. We hold on to our stories because they somehow can inform who we are. We want it to be gone. We don't want the stories of our past to continue to haunt us, but they do. But they do because there's a part of us, there is a payoff to holding strong to the righteousness of the story that has kept us safe to date. Because when you release it, you want it to be over. But think about this, when you release it, it's over. And people aren't ready for it to be over. That's not weakness. That's not being dramatic. That's the story doing the job that the story does, right? The story always is protecting us from something. But this person, in this moment in time, was done. It was done. She was done with it. So here's how you can tell which one you're doing. Fluency. If you can tell the story of your pain in complete sentences with the same wording every time, that's not processing. That's practice. That's fluency. Nobody's fluent in something that they haven't repeated 100 times. You don't accidentally memorize something. Okay? So I wanna make a caveat here, like I feel like I do have to do sometimes. Okay? Grief is not rehearsal. Okay? If you've lost someone, if something devastating happened, and the waves, man, they just keep coming. That's not rehearsing. That's grieving. And grief takes what it takes. And the way through it is through it. Feel it, allow it, let it move. Okay? I'm not talking about grief today. I'm talking about the story that forms around the pain of the past and then just moves in and just kind of sets up shop. The difference is that grief changes over time. However slowly, it changes. Your ability to tell it, your ability to share parts of it without losing yourself. Right? It changes even slowly. A rehearsed story sounds the exact same in year 9 as it did in year 2. Grief moves, rehearsal loops. So why do we rehearse? And again, want to be compassionate here. Okay? I had to be compassionate with myself when this was a reality that I navigated. Because what I realized is I was rehearsing the story about my dad leaving. That's rehearsal. That's not processed. So, why do we do it? Right? As I mentioned before, we rehearse the story because at some point that story helped us. It explained something that didn't make sense. When something happens that you can't fit anywhere, the story becomes the fit. It gives your brain something to hold. It allows you to put it in a box. And of course, you kept telling it because it worked, right? Maybe it kept us out of a risk that genuinely felt like too much at the time, right? It said, don't go there again, right? Remember what happened last time, right? That was your system taking care of you. Remember the story has a job to do, and its job, honestly, you can thank it. It got you here. But here's the question that I ask myself and my clients, and now I'm asking you. Is the story helping you? Or has it just been there so long you stopped checking? Because a lot of us are still being protected from something that isn't a real threat anymore. And that protection is costing us. It's costing you, it's costing me, It's costing us real things, real opportunities, real relationships, real chances to feel like ourselves. So let's talk about the costs because I don't think we count this honestly. When your pain becomes your identity, everything new in your life has to get past that old story first. You meet somebody new, and before you've even decided whether you like them, the story is already deciding whether they're safe. An opportunity shows up, the story looks it over. You start to want something bigger for yourself when the story goes, you know what? We know how this ends. People like us don't get that. And here's what makes it so convincing. You guys, it's so convincing. The story has evidence, real evidence, like from your real life. It's not even about somebody else's life, it's your real life. It's not lying about the past. The past happened. What it's lying about is the future. It happened. That part's true. What's not true is that it will always happen. That part is made up. And the story says both of those, in the same voice. Yeah. So we believe both. It's everywhere right now. It's everywhere, right? We've learned to put a wellness language on this rehearsal, on this storytelling of sorts. We call it honoring our journey. Yeah. We call it owning our story. Sounds nice. Sure does. But if honoring your journey means telling the same wound the same way for the 10th year in a row, and nothing in your life is actually moving, it's not honoring. That's not honoring anything. That's soft sabotage. It's keeping you comfortable and keeping you stuck at the same time, which is what sabotage always does. It never looks like sabotage. That's the whole trick of it. It looks like taking care of yourself. It looks like love. It looks and it is sold as healing. Here's the check. Here's the check. If you're courageous enough to run on yourself, nobody's grading this. Just be honest with you. When somebody's getting to know you, how early does your pain show up? Like how early in the getting to know you process does the hard story come out? No judgment. No judgment, friends. Is it in the first conversation? Is it kind of the headline? Right? For so many of us, the wound became the introduction. It's the first thing we hand people. And I get why. It's the part of us that feels the most explained. It's the part of us that we have felt like we've really navigated and we really have some understanding on who we are and why we're the way that we are. But think about what that means. If the story does all the talking, the story picks who stays. And the story tends to pick people who are drawn to the story, not people who are drawn to you. And you are not the story. Okay, that's a cost. That's the friendships that you have. That's the partners that you attract. That's the opportunities that you energetically pull from, right? That's the whole shape of who you spend your life with. Not because you did anything wrong, but because the story was doing the picking and you didn't know. And I'm not telling you to hide anything. I am not. Please hear that. I'm not saying keep it secret. I'm not saying pretend it didn't happen. I'm not asking you to wait until year 2 or 3 before you share something real. I'm saying the story is not the introduction. You are. And there's a difference between letting people know you and leading with the wound. One invites connection on who you are, and the other one prescripts it, pre-writes it. So that's the work that we're doing this week. This week's word is raw. One word, write it down somewhere, put it on your mirror, whatever you do, right? Raw doesn't mean loud. It doesn't mean falling apart. Raw means unedited. It's the version of the truth that did not get cleaned up before it left your mouth. The version that isn't smooth because it's never been said before. It has no reps. It has no pre-planning for the pause effect. It's not memorized. And I've watched over and over and over in my coaching, and I mean over and over and over in my coaching, the raw version said once, all the way to empty, no filter, no filter, just raw, does more than the polished version said 1,000 times, once, all the way to empty. I want you to consider that your feelings in this, never the problem. The retelling was the problem because the retelling made you feel like this false release when it wasn't releasing anything. It was just more convicted on you being right about the pain and the suffering. So here's what I want you to take home, right? This one thing. Tell the raw version of the one hard thing. You've got 3 ways to do it. 3. 1, alone, out loud, in your car, in your closet, on a walk. Out loud matters here, right? Thinking it doesn't count. Something different happens when it hits the air. Okay, your body hears it differently. Your brain files it differently. It becomes the thing that happened out here, not just the thing that's still happening up here in your brain. That's 1. Out loud. If as you're beginning to share your pain to the air of your walk, and it sounds very familiar, just, just find yourself unediting that and starting again. I don't want this to be polished. I don't want this to be the same iteration that you've told year after year after year. Can you find something different? Can you find something unique about it? Can you find a different level for yourself? I'm not saying this is easy work, friends. I'm just saying it's required. It's required if you no longer want to continue to soft sabotage your future. Because you will, if you bring that same rehearsed story in, it's no different than those people that went into that room thinking they had a scar on their face that they didn't. Our scars are for our healing. Our scars are for our processing and our accepting and our understanding. And this R is the cream. It's the cream that takes off that scar. But none of the other letters matter if you don't do this first. Allow yourself to be the cream that removes the scar that's no longer serving the future of you. So out loud 1, 2, write it out, right on paper that no one will ever read. You can burn it if you want. Some of my clients love the burning of it. Even if you don't burn it, the point is the paper is temporary. You're not saving it for later. You're not archiving it. You're getting it out. Again, if you start writing it as if you were saying it for the 10th time, find another layer. What else is true? What else are you feeling, love? What else is possible for you to just let out? I think sometimes all of the the coaching and the yoga and the metaphysical aspects of the world that we live in say you got to let it out, you got to let it go, you got to let it go. I'm telling you, you can't let something go that you haven't let in. Let this be your let in. Let this be the time that you don't have a curated script for your pain. You just let it be what it is. 3, find a safe person. Tell them ahead of time that what their job is, because they're going to want to fix it. They're going to want to relate to it. They're going to want to tell you their version, and that's not what this is, right? You can just say, I don't need advice right now. I just need space. I just need you to hear this. Okay? Most people are actually relieved that they don't have to fix anything. But whatever you pick, it has to be the unedited version, not the one that's practiced with pauses, right? The one underneath that, right? And like I said, if you continue to think that you're saying the same thing over and over again, there's always something underneath it, right? And there's probably something underneath that. Keep going down. until you find the thing that you've never said out loud. That's the raw version. And then I want you to do one check for me, one check. And that is, do I feel lighter? That's the question. That is the litmus test. When it's released, you will feel lighter. When it's resisted, when it's rehearsed, you will feel right. You will feel more right. You've just got more evidence of a story that you're trying to protect. Lighter means something released. More right means the script just ran again. Okay? Go a layer. Trust yourself. Trust yourself. So, before I let you go today, one more thing about this assignment, because here is what I know. Understanding what raw means, that took us about 20 minutes, right? Actually doing it and doing it again next month and the month after that, that's the practice. And a practice needs a place. It's really, really hard to do this work alone. Trust me, I tried, right? Not because you're not capable, right? But because you can't, what do they say? You can't read the label from the inside of the jar. You can't. It's called a blind spot for a reason. You're supposed to be blind to it. Your brain wants you blind to it because this takes courage and your brain likes ease and comfort. It does not want you to be courageous. It does not want you to change. It does not want your future to look much different than your past. So we hold on to the stories of the past to ensure the same future, the same inevitable future. You deserve extraordinary. You deserve something different. Okay? And I know that. You want to know why I know? Because you're here. Because you're here listening to this. You could be anywhere, but you're here because you know that something better than good, is available for you. And you also know that good is your greatest enemy. That's why you're here. And if you're not in our lab, that is where we meet. That is where we do this work, where we get to work on our life, not just in it. Inner lab is where you work on your life, where you work on the future, where you bring the real stuff. We find the real sentences. You get real coaching. You find out what is raw. You get feedback. You get direction, and you get to do it with people who get it. Who get it. And we're working with these 4 words all month long in there. So if today stirred something for you, if there's a story you know that you've been rehearsing and you're ready to actually put it down, come join us. Come join us. That's the whole reason Inner Lab exists. To be the place. To be the place. So we're going to reveal the next letter next week. I hope you'll join me there. If this resonated with you in any way, please share it. Please star it. Please comment. Let me know. Find me. Find me on Insta. Find me on Facebook. Let me know how this episode landed with you. I read everything. I take all of your comments with so much heart because I know your time is valuable. So thank you for being here, and I will see you next week. Until then, take care, everybody. If this episode cracked something open, good. Let it. And then head to leahrollingcoaching.com and grab the tools to rewire the story and reclaim your future. It is yours. And then share this with someone who's still waiting to be chosen, still waiting for permission, and remind them they don't need a breakthrough, that they are the breakthrough. Until next time, my beautiful friends, invest in you and keep becoming.